started early, that's even better because you're gonna be at a way better advantage than most people are trying to get ahead in the long term approach of investing. Um, so starting out, you do your security bucket, and you may ask, and these are low risk investments again, and you may ask, well, what are those low risk investments? They're things like CDs. Okay, CDs are certificates of deposits. All right, and let me tell you, I've been aware of them. I just wasn't patient. When I first started investing, I wanted to make money right away. So what I did is I went in super aggressive because I was like, okay, I'm young, I can afford to lose the money, I've got a good paying job, I'm making good money, um, and I can afford to lose the money. What I didn't take into consideration though was starting from point one with the most simplest forms of investing long term and taking that direction first before I got into the more aggressive stuff. And it wasn't a bad thing because I learned a lot trying to invest the aggressive way, but doing that it wasn't working for me because my emotions were getting to me and I was just all over the place. I would sell a company when I'm not supposed to sell. Then I'd turn around and buy another company and something would happen with that. I was going for higher dividends, and those are all great things to do, and they're things that I teach you how to do in other videos, but it's not the key to becoming wealthy over time. Okay? So CDs, guys, right now, I just took, in a previous video I was talking about holding cash. Okay, and with the market so unstable and fluctuating all the time, up and down, I finally decided, okay, enough's enough. I'm tired of losing money. I was getting some returns on some other investments, but nothing real big. So I was like, my returns aren't as much as what I'm losing. So I was losing more than I was making. And you want to stay away from that, so I decided to cash out. I said enough's enough. I had an exit strategy. So I decided to sell, and instead of doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, which is the definition of insanity, I said, okay, let's just hold on to cash, go back to the drawing board, do some more research, find out what are some investments I can go into with a more long-term approach, where I'm patient and I know that I'm not going to lose a whole lot of money, because again, the rule to the game of investing is not to lose your money, and rule number 2 is to follow rule number 1. So that's what I did, and the CDs, I found out the CDs are good in any environment, whether the interest rates are going up or down. Okay, and as a matter of fact, I took some of the cash that I was holding, and I just, my girlfriend and I decided to invest in a CD. All right, and it was only $2,500, so it's not a whole lot. It's not going to make me rich overnight or anything like that, but the CDs, when the interest rates go up, so for instance, like Janet Yellen is talking about raising interest rates here in the next couple of weeks through the Federal Reserve. If she does that, depending on how the economy goes, and let's say it starts thriving, when the interest rates go up a little bit, and say it's thriving in different sectors, like the banks, for instance, who are giving the loans out, the interest rates on those loans go up. So the banks may start making more money. This is good if you have certificate of deposits, because, again, these tools do good in bad environments. They do good in really good environments. And the cool thing about them is you don't lose your principal. Like our $2,500, we're going to put it into a 1-year CD. The return on the $2,500 is going to give us $625 on the $2,500, which is not bad at all. It's guaranteed. Okay, it's federally insured through the FDIC, and it's guaranteed that if we just keep our money in there for a year, we can pull it out here in a year, and I've made $625 for doing nothing other than letting the banks borrow my money. And that's what a certificate of deposit is. So that's one of the tools that you can put in your security bucket. And the cool thing about it is once they have expiration dates on these CDs. Once the expiration date hits, they'll give you your money back with your return. And what you do is you take the money that you accumulated in your returns along with your initial investment, you throw it right back in and you buy up another CD. So it's rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Well, guess what happens when you do that? You are leveraging compounding. Okay? And over time, if you do this, it adds up really fast. Okay? And the more money you put into these CDs, of course, the more money you're going to get back on your return. And it may not be due to a higher rate of return, for interest on these CDs, but it may be that you just have more money accumulated. So, let's say you take $10,000, you throw it in there instead of $2,500, and let's say your interest rate is 0.25%. On $10,000, it's going to be a lot more for money that you're getting back as compared to $2,500. So those are things you can do when you start compounding. It's again, if you go back to my financial independence video that I made, I talk about the power of compounding, and that's exactly what it's doing. The other investments here would be like low cost indexing. I'll get into that at a later date because you can go really in depth with that. I could spend half an hour just talking about that. But it's low cost indexing. Basically, you're investing in index funds, like the S&P 500, Vanguard 500, stuff like that. You have annuities. These are life insurance policies, basically. There's 3 different forms of them, and I won't cover them here. But they are very powerful tools. They are a guaranteed income for a lifetime. All right, and you can turn them on at a certain age where they start spitting out money for you every month. Good stuff. My grandma's actually, she's on one right now. She's in her later years. She's almost 70 years old. And she retired just 3 years ago, and they got her into an annuity. All right, and this annuity has been treating her really well. Okay, she doesn't have to worry about money, and she's probably going to outlive that money. Because it's guaranteed for a lifetime through the insurance companies. All right. The other one here was cash. I talked about cash, holding on to cash. Thank God I held on to the cash and didn't keep it in on these individual companies that I was investing in because I was starting to lose some money on them. I said enough's enough. I had an exit strategy, so I cashed out. And well, guess what? I went back to the drawing board, found some tools where I can get guaranteed returns. And I don't have to lose my principal, meaning I don't have to lose my original investment. I don't even have to worry about that anymore. Ask yourself real quick, if you have an investment where you're not going to lose your money versus putting it in something like a company where it may go under the very next day or a month from now, which one are you going to choose? It's a no-brainer. So for me, I'm glad I had cash because I was like, well, you know what? I can take $2,500 and go into a CD and just rinse and repeat. Every single year, I can go into if I want a higher rate of return, I can go into a 4-year CD if I want. But I can do these things now because I have cash. And that's what you want to do. You want to continue having money available to you so that you can continue to play the game. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I know I said that earlier. You want to watch your basket. And you can get higher returns if you put all your eggs into one basket, but you can also lose everything too. And that's kind of what I was trying to explain to you here in the, videos that I did on like dividend investing, and in the investing 101 videos. I was talking about that kind of stuff, and that's what I was talking about. But those are more high risk. So with cash, it's real low risk. Cash is cash, and if you go to a different country with cash, it may be worth more than what it is here too. So you can leverage cash for a lot of different things. Right now, I'm leveraging it for CDs and just flipping my money through CDs because, again, the interest rates are going to go up here soon. The returns are probably going to be pretty good on those CDs. I would imagine they're going to be better than what they are right now. So, security bucket, that's what you want to focus on first when it comes to watching asymmetrical risk reward on your investments, getting the best return you can for your money without losing a whole lot. Focus on your security first. When I talk about cash, the other thing you want to do is get at least 6 months to a year of cash on hand, not in a bank account, on hand. I'm talking like under your mattress, in a closet, in a safe somewhere. You want to have that cash available to you. That way, if, say, you lose your job or your car, crashes on you and you need a new car for whatever reason, that cash is there, guys. You can take that cash and utilize it for that. You don't even have to dip into your, money that you're getting from a company. In other words, what it does, it doesn't put you in the hole. It makes it so much easier for you when those storms come along and try to, when life comes along and just gives you a slap in the face, tries to knock you on your butt, it makes it so much easier because you can get up quicker from that hit that life throws at you. And that's what you want to do, all right? So make sure if you're holding cash, that's one of the first things I would do. Make sure you got that 6 months, 6 months to a year that you could live on. So add up your monthly expenses, whatever they are, and then times that by 6 to 12. And that should give you enough cash to where if you lost your job, you're not taking the very first thing that comes your way, and you're not desperate. It saves you a lot of heartache, saves you a lot of stress. Believe me, I prepared for a rainy day. I did just that. Lost my job last year, and I didn't lose a step. I just kept going, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is. So after you're done with your security bucket, though, and again, I'll go into this later. And if you have questions right now, like how much money do I need and stuff like that, I'll talk about that at a later day. But after you're done with your security bucket, or you've got enough going there to where you feel comfortable and you don't feel like you're hurting for money or worrying about all those simple expenses, living expenses being covered, and let's say they're covered now. The next thing you can do is do the growth bucket investing, which is what I've been covering a lot of with day trading, momentum, day trading, and investing in individual companies. Like your dividend stocks and stuff like that, and selectively picking companies here and there that you can invest in, so you can see if you can get some really good returns. Those are things you can do, but I wouldn't recommend doing those first, because I already did that, and I made some money, I made some good returns, but I also lost a lot of money too. And the thing is, I feel like I was basically just playing a guessing game. I taught myself how to read financial statements, and I can do all that, but I really don't have the time to go in and read all these financial statements on a continuous basis, especially when a company loses money for me, and then I feel like I need to cash out. I don't want to play the emotion game. I want to take the emotions out of investing. So the more long-term approach is a better way to do that. So that's why I recommend doing this first as opposed to what I was doing, because I didn't necessarily screw up, but I did it kind of in reverse order. So growth bucket next, after you've got your security bucket covered. And then the last one is your dream bucket, guys. That would be like, your material items, like your boat, buying that house down there on the beach, or in the mountains, getting that dream car that you always wanted, things like that. Don't worry about those for right now, or at least I wouldn't, because they're just materialistic things. And let's say you got a Ferrari or a Corvette or something like that, and you're driving down the street and you think you're looking pretty good, and your confidence is way up, and you just you're enjoying the toy. Let me tell you, pull up to a stoplight and look to your left and look to your right, okay? And you might get a couple eyeballs here and there, people looking at you and maybe idolizing you. But if you're one of those people that thinks that a fancy sports car is it in life, you're sadly mistaken. Because at the end of the day, guess what? None of that matters. All right, none of it matters.